Good morning. Okay, today what I'm going to do is I'm going to walk you through the the Electroplating Lab. The first thing it says, I want you to read the beginning paragraphs, okay? It tells you a little bit about electroplating, and then it gives you the question as usual, and then observe so that you can come up with your observations, and the hypothesis. Pay very careful attention to this part, okay? It says to write a hypothesis that describes how the object would be coated with the metal. Use the terms oxidation, reduction, anode, and cathode in your hypothesis. So make sure you use those 4 terms, okay? Then you're going to write it. You don't necessarily have to write it as an if-then. That is, I'm not as much of a stickler on that, but I do want to make sure that you include those terms, okay? On the setup page, which is page 48, okay? And that page, it says, in this experiment, you will electroplate an object using an electroplating technique and an electrolytic cell, okay? All that means is you're making a chemical battery, okay? You will then remove the plating by reversing the direction of the flow of electrons from that cell. All right. Now, it has a picture of things you need in here. Again, it doesn't show the goggles and the apron and the gloves, but it should, okay? This will not come in your kit. This is a 6-volt battery. You can get them from Walmart. It used to be a long time ago. They had big flashlights that this baby was plugged into, and that was the kind of flashlights that you used outside before we got these great LED flashlights and everything. But you can find these at Walmart. Sometimes you'll get lucky and you can find them at the dollar store. But honestly, the best place I've found to buy them is at the auto parts store, because a lot of times they'll have them for really cheap, like $1, okay? So, and they almost always have them in stock, whereas the dollar store may or may not. So give those 3 places a try to get an inexpensive battery. There's no need to spend like $6 on a battery. You can find them for cheaper, okay? They may or may not come with this little cap on it, okay? It should have 2 little springs right here to help you connect, okay? So, we've got the battery. The copper wire, in my kit, it came as a roll of wire, okay? Yours may have come in the correct pieces, or it may have come in a roll of wire. If it came in as a roll, you'll need to cut it into 30-centimeter pieces, which is approximately 1 foot, okay? So if you look on our little ruler here, the 30 centimeters, let's see if it's going to show up. It's not really, but the 30 centimeters is right here at the end, okay? So basically it's 1 foot. So you'll want to cut 2 pieces, all right? And then you'll need a nail. You should have a nail in your kit. Don't use a galvanized nail, which means it's been coated with some other metal. You want an iron nail, which is what this is, okay? But even with this, we're still going to make sure we clean it well. And then you'll need a quarter. I have just a standard quarter here. And you'll need the little alligator clips right here. You'll need 2 blacks and 2 reds. So we have a black here and a red here. Okay, you have 2 of the 2 sets. All right, and the steel wool. And then you'll also need a beaker to put everything in. Okay, so you've got your steel wool. And what I want you to do first, it says create a data table like table 1 shown. So you're going to basically draw 2 tables like this, and if I get it there, here we go. 2 tables like these right here, and then after you do that, you're going to thoroughly clean a coin and nail with steel wool. So all you really need to do is get a little chunk off here. You don't have to use the whole thing, and you're just going to rub it like this, okay? Rub it really well. Oh, another suggestion I have, you'll notice I'm at my kitchen table, and today I have a plastic tablecloth on in case anything spills, because this copper sulfate solution will destroy a fabric tablecloth, okay? And it's not good for wood if you spill it on a wood table, okay? So I'm just going to clean my quarter. I had a pretty clean quarter to begin with, so it's really not going to be as noticeable here. But if you have some oxidation on it, then that steel wool will help clean it off. Another option you can use is to use ketchup, okay? And just put a little squirt on and let it sit for 60 seconds, Now I'm not actually going to let it sit for 60 seconds because I've already cleaned it, but I just wanted to show you how to do it. Okay, so we've got it, and then we're just going to make sure we clean it very well afterwards. Okay, because ketchup is an acid, and that's part of the reason it cleans the oxidation off so well. But you also want to make sure that we don't change our reaction at all by using, by making sure that we have an acid left on it. Okay. Okay. So now we're back, and we're going to start working on the experiment itself. Okay. So it says here on page 49 that the first thing you want to do is attach the black alligator clip to your quarter. Okay. And you want to also attach the copper to this, and you want to submerge your alligator clip as little as possible, okay, because you don't want to electroplate it. I've done the same thing with the copper strip right here, okay, and you want to make sure they're not touching each other in the 100 milliliter solution. I've poured 100 milliliters of our 1 molar copper sulfate, so we can get that, there we go, into our beaker here, and then I've attached the red alligator clip here and attach it to the positive terminal here. Now I removed this little piece of paper that was on top because it was covering up my positive and negative terminals. It wasn't telling me which one was which, but when I pulled it off, it says on here positive right beside this red clip, and it says negative right here beside this black clip. Okay, so you're going to take the black clips, you want to make sure the black stays with the black, okay, and you're going to run a copper wire from this terminal again to the alligator clip and to your quarter that you want to be submerged. But again, you want your alligator clip as smallly submerged as possible. That's not even correct words, but you want as little submersion as possible on that. And then same thing again with our copper strip. That's a little easier. I found it works best to make a little hook on my copper wire, okay, to do the electroplating and help it to sit so that it's not submerging the alligator clip. Okay? Alright, so I've actually just let it sit for a couple of minutes because I want to show you what it will start to look like quickly. Pretty soon you will start to get an electroplating process going on. Okay, so I'm going to remove the alligator clip here from the terminal, dab it just a little bit so I don't drip it, and you can see here that we've got, let's see if I can get the color just right, you can see that my quarter is now copper colored. Okay, now this is just after about 3 minutes. So you'll need to finish this process and let it sit for 10 minutes according to the directions so you can see what continues to happen and how it looks after 10 minutes. Okay, I'm going to dip this back down in here. And then after that 10 minutes, you're going to reverse. Okay, and what do I mean by reverse? At the end of that 10 minutes, you are going to change the connections. Okay, so your black clip here you will change, and your red clip here you will change. Now I want you to move the whole clip because you want to make sure that you are not mixing them up. So what I find easiest to do is to just turn the battery around. So you're changing your black clip now to the positive terminal, okay, and your red clip is now going to the negative terminal. Okay, now in that case you are going to wait for 10 minutes and then check again after 15 minutes, okay? And tell me what happens. Write down your observations. Be very detailed, okay? Then you're going to do the same thing with the nail, okay? So I'm going to remove this now so that I can show you with the nail. I'm going to use the same copper strip, but again, I'm going to make sure that I use a little bit of my steel wool. Here it is. The steel wool, and clean off the connections, okay? Clean off the connections really well. And then I'm going to do the same thing here. With my copper strip, I'm actually going to use a different copper strip for this. If you don't have a separate copper strip, just wipe it down really well, again with the steel wool, and clean it. I'm going to use a separate copper strip here. And again, I'm going to use the, I'm going to start off, go back and look again. I'm going to start off with the black on the, we'll do the black on my nail. Okay, so I've got my nail here. Again, remember to make sure you clean it really well with the steel wool. There is a coating on this nail. You can kind of see up top, see there's a little bit left. It kind of makes it yellowish brown. You want to make sure you remove all that. So you can see where I've removed it here in the middle. It's more of a kind of silver color. And it's best to make sure you remove all of it, okay? Because you want to make sure that you have a great connection. What that coating does is prevent it from rusting. So it also would prevent the electroplating process from occurring very well, okay? Make sure it's not a galvanized nail, which actually has a metal coating on the outside, which is much harder to deal with. Okay, so again, I'm going to use my black alligator clip, okay, and my black connection, and my nail, okay. And what I'm going to do is, this one's pretty easy to make sure this one doesn't get too far in the into the copper sulfate, because it is. And you may want to like wrap a little bit around the nail. Makes it a little easier to stay on there. Okay. Again, I've used copper and my red. I'm placing them in there. Again, make sure they don't touch. You don't want them touching in the solution, which takes a little more work with this one because both pieces are long. Okay. There we go. All right, so I'm going to get my other copper wire that I've made sure is very nice and clean, and I'm going to clip it together. And again, move the wire however you need to. It also helps position the copper inside. And then I'm going to bend it, and I want to make sure that I connect the black wire to the positive. Double check that. Okay, the copper, which is the red, goes to the positive. Okay, so I'm going to, again, make sure I connect these. Maybe. Gloves make it a little more difficult, but please make sure you wear them because the copper sulfate can hurt you. Now, I've moved this, and I'm going to use my red clip, because again, we want to match. Makes it easier to keep them straight. Red clip on the positive. And I'm going to get my nail over here that has the black clip on it, and I'm going to connect it to the negative terminal. All right, now I'm going to let that sit for 10 minutes. All right, and again, after that 10 minutes is up, I will record my results on my chart that I've made, and then I'm going to switch again. Easiest, once again, to just flip the whole battery around. Okay. And make sure then, again, use the black, goes to positive this time, and our red goes to negative this time, okay? And that's for our reverse process. And again, you want to check it at 10 minutes, and again at 15 minutes. All right, now let's go ahead and work on our lab report. The first thing you want to make sure you do is to create a drawing of your setup, okay? It says you can describe, I want a drawing and a description, okay? So I want you to describe here and tell me which is the anode, what's the cathode, point out the copper strip in your drawing, the battery, positive, negative terminals, place where oxidation occurs, place where the reduction occurs, and electrolyte solution, coin or nail, and direction of electron flow. You only have to do one drawing, okay? I would prefer you do the drawing with the quarter and before you flip to do the reverse reaction. Okay, that's the drawing I would prefer. Second, you are going to describe the results of your procedure with both the coin and the nail, and then include the reverse procedure you did with the coin. So I want you to explain to me what you did and what you saw. All right? Be very descriptive, please, because if I just see a few words, I cannot give you those full points because I need to know that you did it, what worked well, what didn't. Just, give me some good information. Then finally, write the 2 half reactions that occur in this electroplating process. Be sure to include the states of the elements or the ions, okay? So you're going to write and show me basically a chemical equation and tell me what's happened. And if you need help with writing the half reactions, refer to your problems and solutions manual. That gives you some good information. And yeah, that's the best place to look. And make sure you give me, again, good descriptive answers. Explain anything you need to explain, and you will do well and make full points on this, okay? Let me know if you have any questions. Otherwise, I hope you enjoy it. It's a pretty fun lab, and I think it's pretty cool to see the results you get.